Hello everyone and welcome to the Australian Small Business Podcast. My name is Julian Gaylor, Chris Smith, CEO of Happy HR and Yoke Agency. How are you today, Chris?
G'day, Jules.
Look, one of the things that is coming up a lot is we always talk about position descriptions. People are probably getting sick of hearing about them. But the more we discuss this with people, the more education is needed around, what is it, the real underlying power of a position description? Yes, you can put KPIs. Yes, you can put roles and responsibilities and a summary of it. But we're looking at the underlying, I guess you call them power skills. And people may be thinking, oh, that sounds a bit dramatic. But what are power skills?
So power skills are the underlying core psychological skill set of that person.
So beyond just roles and responsibilities.
Correct.
And so on. Okay.
Yeah. So, you've got, I really put them into three areas. Mm-hmm. And, you've got, your digital skills, you've got your strategic skills, and you've got your soft skills.
Okay,
And
so can you, because that's probably the first time a lot of people have heard those. They may have heard of soft skills, but can you give me a 1 or 2 sentence, and I mean just 1 or 2 sentence explanation of each. So what is digital skills?
So digital skills is someone who's got, digital awareness, used to using software, affirmation for data, appreciation of, UI, UX, and appreciation for that software and digital can actually improve and make you more efficient.
So it's that ability to use and embrace and consider better ways to use
Correct.
IT, basically.
Yep.
Okay,
correct.
Cool. Now, next one is strategic or thinking skills.
Yep.
What's that?
So that's having someone who's got the commercial aptitude and cognitive ability to departmentalize thinking. So it's okay to be a big picture or a small picture thinker. So a big picture sees the big stuff, the small person looks at little stuff. And there's different roles that require big picture, CEO, small picture, CFO, right? So there's different types of thinking required for different roles.
Okay.
But going beyond that is the aptitude of that thinking. And if you understand how you need certain roles or KPIs to be performed, you need to then decide whether it's externally or so it's a big picture or a small thinking person. And that's going to be really inclined to help you to recruit better for that role by using that understanding.
So that's more so looking at, do we need someone in this role who has a strategic ability on a macro level, like a global, if you want to call it, for the business, or someone who is fantastic skills in thinking and strategy in a specific area of the business?
Exactly right.
So almost like, I don't want to call it a generalist, but a generalist versus a specialist. Generalist is downplaying looking at the global, but it's more so, okay, cool. Yeah. And soft skills. What are soft skills?
So soft skills are becoming more important now than they have ever been, because you've got people that can execute and they hit milestones, but they're not collaborative. They want to be working by themselves. You need someone who's got that emotional intelligence. You need someone who's got those ability to listen and actually use those listening skills to find out what the root cause of happiness or sadness is within an employee group, and being able to collaborate in a much more effective way with the rest of the team members. These soft skills are going to be the cornerstone going forward, especially after the pandemic, of driving culture, inclusiveness, and safety. Right. And without that, so managers who don't have that, you can be a great sales guy, but if you don't have that you're not going to be a great sales leader. It's not going to happen.
Right, I get that, and I think that's the thing is that those who have great soft skills and can engage and have empathy, they are. Well, we're going to speak about this moving forwards, but they're the ones who are going to be able to captivate and influence others for good in the business.
Yeah, correct.
Cool. So the three things we've got there, we've got the digital skills, the thinking or strategic skills, and the soft skills.
Yep.
Now, I guess that's, you mentioned this and it makes great sense that you almost need to look at every position description you have, or whenever you're creating a new one, and almost have a pie chart with three segments or pieces to the pie of all these things, and it's going to change for every role, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, you look at a pie chart and you've got, let's say they're equal thirds of that pie chart, and you've got what I refer to as a balance role. So a CEO is what I refer to as a balance role, because you've got the thinking skills, you've got the digital skills, and you've got the soft skills, and you're balanced. But someone who's in HR would have probably 50% soft skills.
They have to.
Right? And they've got, say, 25% of the other. Mm-hmm. So it all comes down to, when you're recruiting, that helps you to tie back to that persona. And when you're looking at a position description, you're writing in a way saying, to optimize this role, what percentage of these three key skills that we're talking about, these power skills, what percentage do I need to be focusing on for this role? Now, by identifying the percentage of power skills and what exact power skills you need, it's going to then enable you to hire better and ensure that you can demonstrate to them, I'm hiring you because you have these skills, as in hard skills. You know how to do Excel, you know how to use Happy HR, you know how to use Xero, you know how to do financial analysis because you're a CFO. Fantastic. But the power skills are, I need you to be really dialed in on the digital side and really dialed in on the strategic thinking, but I don't need you to have as many soft skills because you're an internally referenced person.
Well,
so
I mean, you don't need to say that to someone. It's more so when you're hiring, they're just the type of person you're looking
that's
for.
exactly. So you're in your mind when you're hiring, you're looking at that makeup of those power skills. So you're hiring people that can do that specific task. Yes, you're hiring to persona, you want them to get along well with their team and so forth, but that helps you to decipher their ability to meet those role requirements and be able to produce that output in a predictable manner. And that's a big part of that hiring process.
I think that's something that people need to consider during the hiring process. So let's say you are having interviews for that in an internal IT role. As you're saying, that it's more about their ability to execute and use the softwares to the best of the ability in the business. They're not necessarily managing people. They're not needing to have conversations with people all the time. Obviously, you're going to talk with the team, but it's not necessarily trying to influence and do things like that. So when you're interviewing, you probably shouldn't be holding that aspect too highly. If you go there, this person does very, very well in the thinking and strategy skills and the digital skills, but he's not a great communicator. He doesn't speak with conviction. Some people may be a bit turned off by that. And while it would be nice, you need to ask yourself, is that actually essential for this role? Is this going to stop him from actually being successful here?
Yeah, well, you look at it like, let's look at a digital environment. You've got a project manager or product manager, and they need to have very strong soft skills because they are going to be put under a lot of pressure around the delivery of a product. So they need to put pressure on developers without breaking them. So they need to have the soft skills in order to get commitment that they're going to complete a sprint or milestone, but at the same token, have the ability to, have the strategic thinking skills in order to work out how the team can meet those milestones, where a developer needs a lot more digital and a lot more strategy, but not as much collaboration, because when they've got an understanding of what that particular software needs to be developed like, and they've got a wireframe and they need to code to that wireframe, it's about the strategy and the digital skills. But the collaboration side is you say hi, you say bye, and a lot of those environments have got the earphones on, they're sitting there coding, and they're thinking because it's like doing an 8-hour math exam every day, right? So it's actually understanding the personality profiles and the traits that work in that role, and that helps you to decipher questions around those particular skill sets.
So you'd probably say the opposite to, let's say, this IT person. And look, I'm sure when we're talking about this, everyone has an image of the IT guy in their head, some sort of guy. But then on the other end, you may have your customer support person, the person who is the outward-facing first point of contact. they're probably going to need a lot more soft skills.
Correct.
Sure, yes, they're going to have to use software, whether it's Office, your CRM, emails, and so on, but not at the level where they need to get deep in and be programming and coding. And so the digital skills, would you say, for that person would be quite low, but then the soft skills are massive.
Yeah, customer service versus software support are different roles, but you're right, there'd be more soft skills in that regards. And if you've earmarked someone for, a personality type, they might not have this technical aptitude to actually do level 1, level 2 technical support, but in regards to managing a client out, to managing a client experience, they're actually exceptional. So, I think it's really important to really take a good hard look at what skills you have and how that ties back to power skills. And if you're marrying this up, you will get a great outcome for your hires and for your team. When these aren't matched up, you won't recruit effectively to the persona, and by doing that, you're going to get mishires. And that is absolutely important to rank. If you learn something from this podcast, you would say, right, I've got a PD, I've got these soft skills, these power skills. So they've got the soft, the digital, and the strategical, analytical thinking. And you're going to work out by percentage on a simple pie chart what questions you're going to ask around these things, and make the questions consistent across the business. So when you are interviewing, it's always consistent, and you'll see you're putting the right people in the right roles. Yes, you're tying them back to culture and other things, but power skills can add a lot of value.
Absolutely. And I think that those mishires, like the examples of those mishires is, let's say that this customer service and this IT person, we switched their skills. They still had the baseline skills of, okay, this person with the soft skills who should be in customer support knows how to use the software. But if they're sitting in that role and a lot of their skills and energy is in that soft skills area, but they're sitting in a room by themselves with headphones in, just working away, they're not going to stay in that role for very long. They are just going to probably lose their mind because they want to mingle and talk. And whereas you put that other person with no soft skills into that customer service role, they're probably going to generate more complaints that they're solving because they just don't have the skills to speak
and the
to
people skills, exactly right.
And that's okay, but that's just not the role for them.
Exactly right. And that's the thing, you by really understanding where your power skills sit, enable you also to, so if you do get a mishire, then it's going to come down to power skills in a lot of the times, because you haven't had a process around hiring. You haven't aligned a role to a percentage of power skills, and by doing that, you're actually setting that person up for failure. Like you said, you put them in a room, they've got technical skills, they're doing customer service, they're not their soft skills are poor, and you're expecting them to be pleasant to people. In the end, that guy or girl is going to get complaints because they are a little bit firm with clients. Mm-hmm. They don't like that. They're not empathetic. And so now not only is your product getting complaints, but your customer support team is too.
And that's just a reflection on the business.
Correct.
And as much as you might get angry at this person, I mean, at the end of that, it's on you. You
hide incorrectly.
You're trying to jam a round plug into a square hole.
Correct.
Right there.
Yep.
Whereas it's not that this person's a dud and no good. It's like, this is just not the spot for them.
Correct.
You put them into another spot and they will shine.
Yep.
And it's the same with, I know we're getting away from skills, but people with different intelligences. But on some measure, they are not intelligent. They're dumb. But then let's go on to another type of intelligence, whether it's musical or anything like that. They are absolutely brilliant. But because it's like judging a fish how well they can climb a tree. That's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's a really good analogy. And, power skills are going to become more and more important as data and analytics and AI become more part of our workplace. Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing a lot more understanding of putting the right people in roles so they are happy, because happiness is going to be a big part of our future. And if you're not getting the role peg to power skills, you're going to get unhappy people, unhappy customers, less profits, and it's going to end up a disaster. So take the time to make an analysis on your roles today. Ask yourself if you predict the percentages an even kill, third and a third, or 50%, 25, whatever the makeup is. If you've hired well to that makeup and you've got someone who's actually really great in that role, when you align that person who's in the role to your predictions, you can actually see a correlation. It's just mind-blowing when you start to consider that when the next time you hire that role, you apply your attitude, core competency, integrity questions pegged to power skills, you end up with a result where it's not a mishire, it's actually a success.
I think people will definitely, if they take that into consideration, they'll definitely go into that next recruitment process with a bit more confidence.
Yep, absolutely.
And going, that's a good question to ask. He doesn't have that skill. That's okay. We don't need it for that.
Yep.
Look, I think that's a really, really fantastic little conversation there. Hopefully that's opened the eyes of a lot of people to look at their PDs and really consider what they need, whether that's current people in the roles and they need to make a reshuffle, or for their next hires. But if you can take just an ounce from this and make sure your next hire is a good one, well, we've done our job here.
Excellent.
Chris, thanks so much for that. But thank you everyone for listening, and we'll speak to you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you.